Happy 2022, folks. We've survived yet another action-packed year, haven't we? Thanks to each and every one of you for supporting us, and most importantly, our artists. I'm your host, Steve Harkins, on the Rock and Roll channel on TalkShop Live. And if you like what we're doing here, please hit the follow button for the Rock and Roll channel so you won't miss a single show. And if you want to reach out to us and tell us what your thoughts are about the show or artists that you'd like to see in the future, whatever you'd like, you can connect with me at steve.harkins at ingramentertainment.com. I believe that's somewhere on the site. And also on Twitter at Steve Harkins at steveharkins15. So last week we started the year off brilliantly with the talented Aoife O'Donovan. And we covered her new album, Age of Apathy, which actually is coming out tomorrow. And if you're a Joni Mitchell fan, you'll love her. Great album. Just go back, and you can connect with us after this show. Hopefully, you'll enjoy that album. Last week we started with that show. This is our second show of the year. So with that, Marty, if you will, roll the digital. So born in San Francisco, raised in Southern California, and then Thailand. Imagine that. Finally settling into the Seattle area, relocated to Vancouver to join forces with a group, little-known group, that had been courting her for some time. I think we know who that is. In 1975, their first album took off after some sweat and tears. And more than 45 years later, which is hard to believe when we're looking at our guest today, 16 albums released and over 35 million sold. Several million fans have been entertained live in concert. She co-authored the New York Times best-selling book, Kicking and Dreaming, A Story of Heart, Soul, and Rock and Roll. 8 years later, I suspect she could already write a companion book, and we'll ask her about that. She's an ASCAP Award winner for Jerry Maguire. She's a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and induction in none other than the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And tonight we're celebrating the long-awaited release of You and I, her first solo album on vinyl. And in honor of this evening, Nancy has graciously agreed to sign a limited number vinyl albums in beautiful royal blue-colored vinyl. Great opportunity to own a great new album and own a rare rock and roll memento. Ladies and gentlemen, we're proud to welcome in celebration of the vinyl release of You and Me, the goddess herself, rock and roll royalty, Nancy Wilson.
Hey, huzzah! Wow,
Hey.
quite an intro. Thank you so much. Here's $20.
Oh, please. That's the edited version. Are you kidding? And I'm exhausted after that. You're to be congratulated. I don't know if you ever do inventory, on your career, but it's pretty amazing what you've accomplished.
Just hearing you say all that stuff, I was like, geez, you hang around long enough and, you figure out how to do it.
Exactly. Well, you've done it well. And fans, submit your comments and questions to Nancy in the chat function below, and we'll get to as many as possible. One of the main themes from her solo album, You and Me, is an exploration of a relationship with your mother. And unfortunately, we know that she passed away after struggling with Alzheimer's disease. But I believe you said that while your mother's no longer physically here on Earth, your connection with your mother lives on and continues to be a powerful force in your life.
Oh, exactly. There's a connection through your DNA, with your family and people that you've lost. And sometimes if you have a dream about them, for instance, which I dreamt about her, I felt so tight, like we'd been together for real, and had a conversation up in the ether somewhere. And then I wrote that song, and
Amazing track.
Thank you. Yeah, I really love how it turned out. And I figured, well, it's so kind of simplistic in its, message and in its music, that why not name the album after it? Because it's so simple.
Well, this would be a good place for us to take a look at the title track, a snippet of it on video, You and Me. And Marty, if you're ready, let's roll the digital.
You and me, was you and me. You were right. My heart would be put to the test. I fell in love, lost it all so powerless. I need your face so that everything can fall right back into its place. Mama, can you make it all okay? No reason to hurry, no reason to worry, 'cause you always showed me the way. Oh, you and me, Mama, always you and me. Gravity, you and me. Gravity.
Well, that was a beautiful track. That's the title track. And tonight we're celebrating the vinyl release of Nancy Wilson's first solo album, released You and I. And to answer the question, why vinyl? Fantastic sound quality. The covers are autographed by Nancy. It's a great display piece, beautiful color, vinyl, royal blue. She's a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and rightfully so. And also, this could be a heirloom that you'll pass down for generations to come. 3 amazing unreleased tracks finally on the album. And Nancy's suffering from an arthritic condition. So at minimum, just by buying this album, you can help her recovery process. So just hit the buy button below, and the rest is easy. And thanks for supporting Nancy and the arts. So I know I'm hearing a hissing, but we'll work on that. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay. So tracing the roots of your family background with the Wilson family, your grandfather also on your mother's side, as I understand it, was a singer in school and also sang and whistled around the house quite a bit. Would you say maybe that's kind of the roots or the beginnings of the musical lineage through the family?
Well, yeah, my dad and my mom both were in choirs, and they both played. She played a lot of piano, and ukuleles were always in the house, and everybody learned an instrument along the way in school. And my dad was in a barbershop quartet, and my granddad, my mom's dad, was a singer in the church choir, and he would sing, to wake us all up in the morning when we were staying at their house. And so, but just as an aside, with my situation with arthritis is actually pretty resolved. So I don't have,
Good.
I had kind of a issue with it for a while, and then I took some therapy for it, and it really worked. So no worries about that on my part or anyone's part.
Okay, that's good. Well, I was just being a sales guy too, just to try to
Yeah.
get, like the
Just playing the violin,
yeah,
like.
exactly. Yeah, but I'm so glad to hear that for sure. So there's 3 unreleased tracks on the vinyl release, and they're terrific. 2, I'm not surprised because I know you're a Beatle fan. So the
Yeah.
first is Bluebird from McCartney's solo album. Interesting choice and a beautiful rendition. How'd you come to select that track?
Um, I had an offer to somebody had asked me for a benefit around the Seattle area to put a vocal on this really cool track of Bluebird, and I said, of course I'll do it. I'll record it at home and send it in. So it was a benefit song to begin with, and then so was Fixing a Hole for another benefit, and the guys in Seattle that all the guys in Seattle that I played with on the album, they're all from Seattle. So it's like a beautiful community of musicians there. It's always been a musical town, and this guy Jeff Fielder, who played on the album and played on the bonus tracks too, he actually came out, played some stuff for me for the Seattle Symphony show that we did recently. So there's a great network of really good musicians around Seattle, and I'm starting more music with them now.
That's great. That's great news. So is that breaking news that you're looking at another solo project?
Yeah, I'm working a lot with Sue Ennis, my collaborator
Yeah,
friend,
yeah, really
um,
talented.
Andy Stoller on bass, and Dan Walker on keyboards, and Ryan Waters on guitar, and Ben Smith, who was in Heart many years, on drums.
Right.
They all played with me on the album and started writing again. And there's interest in an acoustic solo album next, as well as a Christmas album. So
Wow.
just getting busy over here.
I love it. Well, don't stop. Yeah, keep it going. If there's a benefit with the pandemic, it's
Yeah,
all this creativity and great music.
it's actually really true. I mean, a lot of people feel it was the blessing inside of the curse that everyone got back to their writing and their playing and their woodshedding with their creativity.
Absolutely. And so congratulations on this album. Shockingly, your first solo project after all this time, but well worth the wait. It charted on the top albums. It came out number one on the independent labels charts. It came out number one as far as new artists. Imagine that you're a new artist, Nancy.
That made me really laugh, because
Yeah,
you're number one new artist this year. I'm like, okay, well, if you think back a ways, but I guess I would be a new artist in that particular category at this
that's
particular
right.
moment. Yeah.
Survey says you meet all the qualifications for it. So
Yeah, I guess so. And it was really exciting to be acknowledged, and people really responded positively to the whole piece. And I really like it. Like a lot of times you work really hard and then you don't ever want to hear it again.
right,
But I love playing the vinyl at home now, because it's like, it was a hard one, kind of a prize to get it all together and
yep,
to remotely record everything between my house in Northern California and all the Seattle stops that each track had to make at each guy's house.
right.
So by the time the first year of the pandemic was done, I had an album to release, which was
Amazing.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, especially the manner in which it was recorded as well, right? I mean, because you're bouncing tracks around,
Yeah.
digitally and not in the same room, which maybe is historically, at least the basic tracks how we'd lay down songs for a new album.
Yeah, like almost 2 years later, we went to rehearse in the same room at the same time with the band for the Seattle Symphony show, that
Right.
our first ever all together in one stage situation. And it was like unbelievable just to see my friends again in the same room and
I'm sure.
make noise together in the same room. It was, we were doing all the protocol, we got all the testing, everything, we did everything right. But it was such a thrill to get up on a stage again with a big rock band like that, and a symphony orchestra.
Yeah, to
So,
add.
I was super nervous at the beginning of the show
Were you?
because it'd been so long,
About a
and
couple years, right? At least 2 years.
pretty much a couple of years. And there's this big audience, and it was packed out, and I had to come out by myself and sit down on a piano bench and play the For Edward instrumental song.
Yeah,
And I was shaking like a leaf.
I'm sure.
But then, by the time you're into the show, you kind of, it melts away, and then there you go.
It's a bit of an out of body experience when you kind of get locked in, isn't it?
It's true. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, here I go into the vortex.
Yeah. And it must have been so cathartic and a great relief when it was all done. I mean, a celebration to be back on stage after 2 years.
Yeah, and I brought my new singer with me for that show, Kimberly Nicole, who
Yeah.
did really great, got really big scores on The Voice at one time, and she's just a real rock singer.
Yeah.
She belts, and she can kind of growl, and she brings the big muscular energy to songs like Barracuda, but she can also do the whole range of the big heart songs like that. So she got a couple of standing ovations during the show.
Wow. Yeah, I read a number of reviews. I had tried to make it out there originally. I think it was scheduled for the summer, and of course,
Yeah.
because of the pandemic, got pushed out. And the reviews were phenomenal, both on you, the band, and also her as well.
Yeah, no, she's a keeper.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Let's talk about a few of the tracks. I'll Find You. Love the vocal, really strong one. One of my favorites, Monster Ballad. Was this one written with someone in mind?
Um, well, it was a song that was pretty much already started and titled, and written by Ben Smith and Sue Ennis mainly. And so I thought, well, I just love this song because
Yeah.
I had heard it. They'd worked on it a couple of years earlier, and I'd heard it in my kitchen when Sue was visiting back in the day when you could visit your friends. And,
Way
um,
back when.
it made me I got really emotional around it because it's that kind of a song where, you're gonna catch someone if they're falling,
Right.
it's an act of support, the support of someone that you love who will help you, through something really bad or painful. So, you know, so I just took to that song like, like a duck to water.
There you go. Speaking of which, Daughter, you made that one your own. And when we spoke about it originally, when the album first came out in May, I'd asked you if you got any feedback from anyone from Pearl Jam. Since that period of time, any indirect or direct feedback from anyone in the band?
Oh, they loved it. I mean,
That's great.
one of my best all-time friends was their manager for many, many, many years since the beginning, since Mookie Blaylock, even since Mother Love Bone,
Wow.
Kelly Curtis, and so I just said, well, hey, I hope these guys don't mind, because they're like, nope, they love it, they love it.
Was that great? That's vindication right there too, right?
Good take on it, I think, because it changes the dynamic because there's a female, singing it. There's a female voice, so it takes on a whole different aspect.
Absolutely does, no question about it. Hey, how about if we take a few questions from the fans? Let's see here. We've got well, David just says, "Hey Nancy." Mike G says wants to know about the Las Vegas residency
Right.
with Styx. Now that's coming up next week, isn't it? This is
Yeah.
the first time you'll be doing a string of dates solo,
Right.
right?
Yeah, I'm bringing my singer with me, to do. They started this cool concept where with Don Felder, they they put him in the midway part, the center of the show. Styx starts in the middle of the show. Don Felder comes out, and
Oh
they
wow,
4 Eagles songs with Don Felder,
oh great.
and then they finish the Styx show. So this is their new amazing concept that I'm part of now. And so me and Kimberly are gonna go do 4 big heart songs, and I'm gonna do one with Styx as well. We're gonna do 5 shows in at the Venetian
Yeah,
in Vegas, baby.
great room.
Yeah, I
And
heard
depending on how that goes, might there be a future with that pairing beyond those dates?
Well, I think there might be a future in a residency, and having there's people like Sammy Hagar in town that are in a residency situation too.
Right.
And we could do a little bit of musical shift around, because we're all pals and we'd love to play with each other. So
Sure.
all kinds of possibilities there.
And it's fun for the fans too, because they see those pairings they normally wouldn't see, that kind of intimacy. And
It's like a twofer for classic rock or something.
absolutely. Well, that's exciting. So I think it's a week from tonight, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking at the date. I think it's like the 27th. I want to say, or tomorrow night's the first date.
Yeah, we go out, we go to Vegas and rehearse a couple of days, and then What is the first show? I think it's
I want to say it's the 27th, which would be a week from tonight, if not a week from tomorrow. It's definitely latter part of next week.
yeah. It'll be really fun, I think. You know, and
Yeah,
they're all such nice guys too. So
they
it always
are.
helps when you get to work with great people.
Well, we had them on the show, and their latest album is fantastic. And, this is also part of their 50th anniversary, which is
Oh
amazing.
wow. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
There you go. You learned something. See that? It was worth the price of admission to show up tonight.
Well, I have to, yeah, wish him a happy 50th. There was
Absolutely.
a
I,
thing,
I think JY is the only one, I think, but Tommy joined him shortly thereafter.
there's a thing that on the radio many years ago when they were coming into Seattle, and we heard an ad for their show on the radio, and this big announcer goes, "4 50-foot semis, 1,000 miles of cable." Like, Seattle, get ready to welcome Stax.
That's a great rendition. I heard that guy 50 years ago. He's been waiting for the 50th anniversary to say that again.
He did a lot of those commercials. Yeah.
That's great. We also get just a lot of people appreciative of you delivering the record. Michael G, God love you for making this amazing album. Amen to that. Amy C, yay Nancy, we missed you. Second that emotion. Phoebe Anna J says hello Nancy, hello Steve, hello Phoebe.
Hello.
David M says Joska from the Netherlands asks, there's 3 tracks on the vinyl album that's not on the CD. Why those songs? But I think we got to that. Thanks. And he says, hey to Jeff. Hey, is Jeff there behind the scenes, Nancy?
Yeah, he's just over in the kitchen. Yeah.
Okay. We're a big fan from the first show. You did a great job.
Great. That's great. I'll be sure to pass that along.
Please do. Mallory says the pics are gorgeous of what we showed in the intro. Alyssa wants to know, what's your favorite song on the album, if you have one?
Oh, I think it might be, well, it kind of changes, every time I listen, but
Sure.
I think maybe For Edward, the instrumental that I
Yeah.
dedicated to Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
Just because it's the button at the end of the album that it's got a lot of sentimental, it's a sentimental album for sure. And it kind of caps the sentimentality and the honesty that goes on in the songs.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you did that live too, didn't you? You opened with it live, you said.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And the response must have been amazing. Everybody knew, right?
Oh, yeah. That's everybody's favorite, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, rightfully so. Well, folks, I just want to remind you tonight we're celebrating the long-awaited vinyl release of Nancy Wilson's first solo album, You and I. It's an amazing album, and now you can get 3 additional tracks. And with vinyl, you get fantastic sound quality. And Nancy was gracious enough to sign a limited quantity of the album covers. So again, it's a great collector's piece, something that you can pass down from generation to generation, because she is, after all, rock and roll royalty, a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, to say the least. And this is also in beautiful blue, royal blue colored vinyl. Have you had a chance to? Well, you have had a chance to see the actual album, so you're really happy with the color.
Oh, I love the
came out?
color.
Yeah.
I picked the color out, and it's kind of in a theme with the album artwork, because
Right.
there's the royal blue and the red, and the blue and the red, and they're primary opposite kind of colors, So it's really striking. It catches your eye.
It really does.
Reads well from a distance, and all those things. But yeah, and I have that bright red Ford car, convertible restored model 52 Ford. And it's like I had to put that on there because it's just too cool.
Absolutely.
It's just too cool not to put it on the album cover.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, sometimes with the colored vinyl process, it doesn't always come out quite the way you envisioned, but it's beautiful. They did a great job.
That car was brought to LA by for Jay Leno's garage show.
Oh, is that right?
Actually did. It just aired recently, and we drove around in the two cars. He had a purple 1970 Barracuda that he
Nice.
was driving. Yeah, and I was driving the big red Bomber.
That's
It was a
great.
great fun show.
Yeah, that's right. Has that aired yet?
What? Oh,
Has this?
it was out. It did air, and I think you can find it if you want to watch
I'm
it.
sure you can. That's a fun show for sure. Um, so, hey, I've got to ask you, word is you recently sold a significant portion of your songwriters' royalties to Round
Right?
Hill Music. And, I have to ask you, I have a number of friends in the industry, and this is kind of a growing trend. And,
Yeah.
part of it is because these companies are trying to, invest in their future businesses, and they're throwing some pretty amazing amounts of money.
Yeah.
And I have to imagine there's a little bit of a tug of war in making a decision, because at some point you probably say, I know you didn't sell your entire rights, but do you keep this within the family, or is now the time, to take advantage of that situation? So how did you come to the decision to go with this company?
Well, there's there's a whole list out of reasons that it's a good idea.
Yeah,
Um, Most of all, I think if you wanted to will all of um, your intellectual property to your family,
yeah,
they're not going to know what the heck to do with it.
exactly.
So other big companies like that, they can kind of protect the legacy and only let them go out for usage, for commercials or other uses, where it kind of preserves the heritage and the image of the heritage. So
Yeah,
it's a good thing and somebody who's not a spring chicken, either. So
you're kidding. I
yeah.
would not have known that.
Well, but I mean, when you've done something this long and
Sure.
especially have been unable to actually tour per se, for real tour, for a few years now, it just makes sense to kind of get your savings going.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on that. And I know exactly what you're saying. You got two great sons, right? But they're forgetful, like most younger gentlemen are. I mean, it's a good thing when they call you on the actual date of your birthday, not because they don't love you,
Right.
right?
That's right.
So,
And they're young men. So
yeah,
it's and when you're in your early 20s and stuff, you don't want to have any kind of bear any responsibility for something that you might not know the first thing about.
right. It seems like a burden. Maybe, 40 years later, not so much, but, what happens before that?
Exactly, and
Yeah.
it's life's work that's gone to good use.
Yeah. Well, again, congratulations on that. And I understand they're a terrific company. I'm sure they're going to handle it appropriately. Party at the Angel Ballroom, we talked about that in the last show. Taylor
Yeah.
Hawkins from Foo Fighters and Duff McKagan, obviously from Guns N' Roses. And you said that you performed some rock and roll surgery on the song structure, but the final version is absolutely a great track, and with the price of admission alone.
It's turned into really a party power pop kind
Yeah,
of. Yeah,
absolutely.
really fun. And Taylor Hawkins got that energy it's beyond.
Yeah, no question.
Beyond energy. He's
Uh,
and the Foo Fighters in general too. They're everywhere doing everything all at once.
yeah.
Everywhere.
I mean, I've got a movie coming out now.
I know. I
Yeah.
don't know what kind of vitamins are they taking? I don't know.
I don't know, but or prescription, whatever. I'll take two bottles
Yeah.
of whatever it is.
Whatever they
For,
take. Yeah,
that's
whatever.
that's right. And the boxer you mentioned, Sammy. So again, it's kind of an interesting pairing for that particular song, but it's great. It works.
Yeah, I think it really works. Um he's himself was a boxer, and his dad too.
Yeah.
Um and I had another big rocker, that I offered to him, and he said, "That's just too predictable. I want to do something more, unusual with you. And so I said, well, what about that boxer? And he's like, yeah, I love that song.
That's great. So you pushed it a little bit to go in that direction.
Yeah, everybody grew up with that song, and everyone has a lot of connection to that song. And
Yep.
we did it the last Heart tour. We did that song, and people just love to sing "La La 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 La."
Yeah, it's a great crowd song, crowd
It's a good
response.
crowd song, yeah. So yeah, so Sammy sounded great on that.
Well, there you go. So when that residency starts, that's a logical pairing just to do that song alone.
Yeah, we'll have him come over and do that, and I'll go over and do something on his stage, and if Sticks are around, we'll figure something out.
There you go. All right, I'm booking like 3 months in Vegas as we speak. I just don't know which months, but I'm gonna roll the dice and see where it goes.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
Thanks. Thanks. So, hey, how about we take another look at a video track? I don't think this one was actually available at the time when we had the first show in May. This is "Walk Away,"
Oh, yeah.
and Marty, if you're ready, let's roll the digital.
The time has come to let it go. I'm out of tears, more than you know. Don't need this drama anymore. It's my own making. I won't react, I won't attack. Nothing's really gonna bring us back. I'll trim the memory in black. It's my own making. Burn the house down, let it flame out. Throw the ashes cold and gray. With all we've been through, it's up to me to forgive us both and walk away. I gotta give the past a rest. Doesn't even matter who made this mess. Our broken love is dust for us. I'm so done with hating. These are all the things I saved. I'm giving back everything you gave. The photographs that fade away, and the spell is breaking. Oh, burn the house down, let it flame out. Throw the ashes cold and gray. With all we've been through, it's up to me to forgive us both and walk away.
It's a beautiful song without question. And I wonder if you could kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, a lot of people, thought it was something really, really personal between me and my sister, which it sort of partially is.
Yeah.
But it's also more broadly, it's the way it feels to give yourself permission to walk out of a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
It's not always the first, it's not the first choice you usually want to make.
It's not a clear path. Yeah.
Not a clear path. So it's really, you're steeling yourself to make the change for the better.
Yeah. And Vinyl, trust us, folks. Man, it's an amazing, amazing song. Again, of this great collection. And with that, again, this is the vinyl release that we're celebrating this evening of Nancy Wilson's first solo album, Hard to Believe. And she's actually a #1 new artist on the charts too. So it's a beautiful thing. Fantastic sound quality, and the covers were autographed by Nancy, a limited quantity. So make sure you pick that up now. It's a great item that you can pass down for generations to come. And just hit the buy button. The rest is easy. Thanks for supporting Nancy and the arts. So with that, let's take a look at maybe what a few fans have to say. We're getting a lot of requests. This year's one, signed LP order. The CD's magnificent. Nancy, you're amazing. That's from JC.
Oh, nice.
Here's a tall order, but let me know if you need an extra roadie. Carrie Ann says, please come and play a concert in Norway.
Oh, yeah. Well, right now, there's no crew going anywhere for any reason right now, but hardly, but.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you for the thought.
Summer says, I really love Nancy's voice. And I wasn't going to bring this up, but I do remember somewhere hearing, and it might have been directly from your mother in an interview or indirectly, but she always thought you had the beautiful voice in the family, even though, the other sister is no slouch, pretty amazing talent.
No.
She really loved your voice from what I understand.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had a voice more like my mother's voice. It's kind of a softer, more smoky tonality. I don't have a big range, like my sister Anne, who's really unbelievable singer. I mean,
absolutely
one in the world kind of a singer. But I really love singing, and if it's in my range, I really enjoy it.
That's right. This is from Arian, who says, yay, Nancy, and congratulations on the album. Michael G says, I was a huge fan of Live at McCabe's.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a rarity.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the in-between. I love the intro with the electric piano. It's a kind of a throwback, good, feel-good arrangement, great production. This song, I think you were pretty proud of. We talked about it before because your son's also involved, right?
Yeah, my son Curtis had an assignment at school to write a poem, and so he wrote a lot of those words. And he's kind of a cynical kid.
Yep.
So he uses a play on, wrong and right, and left and right, and was right and wrong. And I was really fascinated with his style, with that way of thinking. So I figured, well, make it a quirky poem, make it a quirky song.
That's right. And, it's a terrific track. And it's a great opportunity for you to share that with your son. You also do a great cover of the Cranberries' Dreams. And for those of you that haven't heard it, again, you can pick that up on vinyl, and also the CD is available. And as you look throughout your musical career leading up to the solo album, have you done? I know we did an intro and you're commenting on it. I mean, do you ever do like an inventory on it, or kind of evaluate? What else have I kind of left on the table that I want to pursue?
Well, I think there's enough interest from the You and Me release that management's already sort of interested to talk about another acoustic solo album and a Christmas album too.
Yeah.
So I'm game. I'm already kind of started working on songs with Sue Ennis and Ben Smith and my team of guys, that I worked with on the album too. And the guy that you saw in the video playing the violin, Andrew, he's from Seattle too, and he is the leader of Seattle Symphony, so he volunteered to play stuff for me. So the gang I have in Seattle is pretty awesome. And
yeah, they are.
You do just pull anything off with those guys.
Absolutely. So we'll hopefully see at least maybe one more project this year, was what it sounds like.
Yeah.
If not even one time for Christmas. Although, it kind of sucks recording a Christmas album in the summer, doesn't it? I mean, you're going to have to create some ambience. Yeah.
It's a little bit alienating. At least they have, redwood trees here, instead of just like
There
it
you
was
go.
really alienating at Christmas time in LA,
Yep.
the frivolous palm trees everywhere. But no, I think we're just gonna keep writing, and I'm gonna do demos of stuff, and then the ones that are truly a good fit for me to sing, I'll put on my album, and other ones I might want to give to Universal Publishing to have them try to find a good home for those songs.
Oh,
So,
great idea.
just placement stuff, and so we're just diving into a list of titles and a list of ideas that we've started, and just see what happens.
Yeah. Well, let's looking forward to it. I love the Dragon. That one. I know you had for a while. It's tied to your buddies Alice in Chains. We talked about that on the first show. One of my favorites, and We Meet Again is also a bit of a nod to Paul Simon, right? I think
Very much,
yeah,
yeah. There's a guitar pattern, fingerstyle pattern, that I lifted from the Jerry Maguire score and made it into a finished song. So it was a tip of the hat, to the score work as well as to Paul Simon.
yep. And then For Edward, which again is just it's amazing body of work. I mean, your gift to Eddie Van Halen, of course. And I know you told the story about the song he just out of left field called you up and played, right? But
Right.
lost in the ether after that.
Well, I don't know if it exists anywhere on a tape machine or what, but he complimented my acoustic playing, and I said, "Well, why don't you play more acoustic?" And he goes, "I don't really have one here." So I said, "Well, you have one now," and I gave him one. And then he called me, at dark 30 in the hotel room,
Yeah,
and played me this thing. He'd been up all night composing, and it was really a gorgeous piece of music that I can't remember, but I remember kind of the basic shape of it, and that's what I was trying to imitate for the return gesture of for Edward.
that's great. That's great. Yeah, it's a beautiful song and a great tribute. Again, I want to remind everybody tonight we're celebrating the long-awaited vinyl version of Nancy's first solo album, You and I. Brilliant piece of work. Well worth the 30 some odd wait for, but we're patient people. And in between, she's pumped out a few pretty good projects, I would have to say. And she's been gracious enough to sign a limited quantity of the album covers. So you can pick that up here. And it's a beautiful piece when you consider also the colored vinyl. It's in royal blue, and as Nancy said, it's coordinated with the entire package. And the sound quality, as I said earlier, is just amazing. And vinyl is in high demand in a short supply. It's really difficult. That's why it took so long to put this out. The pressing plants are backed up for months. They're booked for the entire year and beyond. So just hit the buy button. The rest is easy. Thanks for supporting Nancy and the arts. So I have to ask you this. Your sister, Ann, just recently released a striking video accompanying a previous cover of Rooster. Have you had a chance to see that?
I have not seen it, but I heard enough reaction to it that I don't think I am up for seeing it.
It's a little disturbing. Yeah,
Oh,
I have to
that's
say.
what everybody says, and
Yeah,
you kind of, once you look at it, you can't unsee it.
right.
So I don't think I need that in my atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a great version musically, but I got to say, as we're speaking, I'm seeing it right now. But speaking of which, have you two had any communications like over the holidays or recently, just touching base?
Occasionally we kind of get on a trail with our other sister Lynn,
Yeah.
or Sue Ennis, our other dear friend, and
Yep.
we will just kind of go, "Hey, happy Easter," hey,
Yep.
and that's pretty much the extent of how personal we are anymore.
I understand. And you said that when we last spoke at the time that Live Nation was dangling a pretty big tour package for the beginning of this year, but obviously a lot of things have changed. So is that kind of on the back burner at this point?
Well, I don't think it is, because when they were trying to uh, bring their new lineup of players that Anne wanted to put on stage as Heart with me, and I wasn't really willing to do that. I
Yeah,
just don't know those guys, and I didn't want to feel like a sideman that was just
understood.
so. So I just and it kind of went away. I mean, they didn't really respond to any of our responses in response to their what they wanted. They wanted this, and I didn't want that, and nobody responded to anything. So
It's got to be the right fit.
yeah, it's got to be the right vibe and
Yeah,
the right people. And I, my thing was that everybody that's played on the last big Heart tour would be back, in the same band.
right.
I think I don't know. I think Anne might be a little bored with Heart. I don't know.
Yeah. Are these the musicians she's playing with periodically for her solo
Yeah,
project? Yeah,
yeah. She calls them the Awesome Dogs.
right.
I think they're mainly Nashville players, which they're
Yeah,
good, of course. But
yeah.
I'm just a loyal person. I like to
Understood.
stick to the people I love,
Yeah,
and not just be thrown into a new mix altogether with people I don't even know.
that's
So
fair.
it didn't feel fair to me. Yeah.
Well, listen. I have to say, to this day, everyone talks about your performance at the Kennedy Center honoring Led Zeppelin, and
Oh,
in terms of like historic, magical music moments on television, you got the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, you got Michael Jackson with the Moonwalk. This one's absolutely up there. I mean, it
it's,
sends chills up your spine, even if you weren't in the room. And I think the camera caught glimpses of each of the individual three members of Led Zeppelin are still with us, and their jaws dropped, and I mean tears coming out of their eyes. I mean it was just amazing. But you had to open that thing up yourself by yourself, and I got to imagine you were talking about being a little bit nervous with the Seattle Symphony. That had to be like 10 tons of nerves on your shoulders, standing out there virtually alone, even though there were people on the stage opening up that song.
That's one of those moments where your long experience as a player comes into focus. You have to take one really cleansing deep breath and focus down into the actual moment
Yeah,
where you're not letting your scatterbrain, make oh no, I'm gonna I'm gonna make a mistake. Then
right.
you make a mistake,
That's
so
right.
you have to just be really zen with it. Um, but yeah, I can't say that it was not kind of stressful either.
Well, you appeared to be Zen squared, in that state, but so you hit it really well. And did you know that it was magical once you things kind of kicked in, that what you were doing there, the whole production was pretty special.
We couldn't really see what was happening up in the balcony area with the Zeppelin guys, but we could tell the room was totally with us,
Yeah,
and the musical, direction of the guy from the Kennedy Center, excuse me, had a really great arrangement going with all the tiers and the levels and the reveals of the various sections of the song as it happened.
yeah, it's
And
brilliant, brilliant.
also the fact that Jason Bonham, the son of John Bonham, who was the original Zeppelin drummer, was in the bowler hat playing the drums with
Yeah,
all the lavishness around, and a well played version. Um, and I'm sure that was part of their emotional reaction too, because he was a little kid when they were
for sure.
being Led Zeppelin. And um, yeah, and not just that, but also, you know, they came back afterwards, and Robert Plant said, wow, I learned to really hate that song because everyone just murders that song.
Right.
And you guys did great. And each one of them had a really, really positive reaction to it. So we didn't even see how powerful it was until it was edited a couple weeks or a month or something later. And
Yeah.
we saw it air, and it was like, Jesus, Pisa, this is
Yeah.
great.
That was magic. And I I met Robert Plant a few times, and I was backstage during a solo tour, 1985, and it was like a Tuesday night, and he confided in me that he was going to get together with James and see how things go. And he seemed so pleased to say that. I had no idea what he was talking about, but I just smiled like, oh, thanks for sharing the news. And then 4 days later, Live Aid, he was telling me he was reuniting with Jimmy Page. He called him James. And if it felt good, they were going to be there. However, they were both very dissatisfied with how the two songs turned out, including, Stairway to Heaven. And I think, there was really a stigma as a result of that, of even reuniting. And, because they just were like, sometimes it just doesn't work, and so I think you broke that stigma or that sense that he had with that performance. I really believe that.
I see what you mean. That's a really good point. And I think also like when they did the O2 Arena in London, it was years later, but they really were happy to be playing together again. And
clearly,
I had to miss that show because one of my kids got sick, but
oh no,
to stay home, nurse the fever. But Anne went there, and some friends of mine were there, and they were pretty elated, by seeing Zeppelin one more time, because I got to see them growing up a few times, in big stadium type places and arenas, and
same here.
Just magical.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, you're exactly right. So last track we were talking about from the album is The Rising. Of course, that's a Springsteen cover. Beautiful treatment of this, and it's perfectly timed. I mean, when we talked about it in May, it still applies now in terms of the climate that we're in right now.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
It continues to be relevant, and again, it's another interesting angle coming from a female perspective. It has a different there's a broader message, I guess, that comes through that song. That's more of a the humanity and the love of for humanity that comes through in that song in a very religious, very Catholic kind of way. It very descriptive, that's something Bruce really can do well. And I just I tried to do that song without a teleprompter at one point. It's like, wow, it's like reciting a novel, but he can write them, boy, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, that album came out. It really was kind of like the prescription we needed, after 9/11. I mean, it's just really powerful album and song. David M says, bravo. This is from Emily R. Good for you to have strong boundaries. You deserve to have it be right for you, too. I think she was kind of referring to any potential reunion with Hart. Some are shedding virtual tears, knowing that we might not see a tour at least for 2022, but pack your bags and go to Vegas. It's not too late. Next week, she's going to be there. For the love of God, people, come on.
It's a rock experience if you ever wanted one.
There you go. And, again, rock and roll royalty before us. Emily said the moment you locked in with Ryan in Seattle changed it all. The nerves melted. Can't deny that type of musical chemistry. So Emily was there and witnessed the performance.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I mean, Ryan, oh my God, yeah. He was in my other band, Roadcase Royale, as well, with Liv Warfield, who got other work. So I found Kimberly Nicole this time. But Ryan's he's a beast.
Yeah. Rob wants to know, would you do The Situation live on the solo tour?
I like that song. I would do that song. Yeah, I would. Yep. It's a really cool early 80s, new agey kind of, like a Devo song almost.
Yeah. Rob Anthony says your Stairway is legendary. You're right. Carly says, yes, OMG, Arian, it's so iconic. And the high kick she does, this is from Arian, the high kick she does in every Crazy on You intro is so iconic and powerful. Do you have to like practice that, like a week before you hit the road?
Probably I should,
Uh,
I mean, I do work out a lot. I do yoga a lot.
no
So
surprise.
try to keep really flexible and, and some jumping jacks are involved usually just to kind of get, the balance in your step, but, no, I mean, it's a good excuse to try to stay limber.
Yeah. Well, everybody, is just so ecstatic with the album and you showing up this evening and being so gracious to spend an hour of your time when you could be spending it with your husband, family, or writing more material. So thank you so much for doing that. And I can't believe it, but it's the hours flown by. But I just wanted to thank everybody for watching our show tonight with Nancy. And again, the vinyl release, it's finally here, folks, of this brilliant solo album, her first, You and I, chart topping. And who knew? Best new artist of 2021 and 2022. She got my vote. The the colored vinyl is absolutely beautiful, royal blue colored vinyl. And by the way, folks, if you didn't get her CD when she signed it, she has probably one of the most beautiful autographs, not just of any musician, but out there. I mean, it's a work of art unto itself. So
Hey, I put the heart with the wings.
you do. It's amazing. And to sign a lot of those, I know a lot of times people say, I'm going to cut corners, no heart. Okay, no heart and no wings, And
Well, I tried that back in the 80s for a minute because we used to sign stacks and stacks of stuff.
I'm
And
sure.
there was a general outcry that, came out. You have to do the heart with the wings. Oh my God. Okay. It takes a
No
lot.
escape. You're stuck with that for life. But thank you for doing that. And I'd like to also especially thank Jeff Bywater behind the scenes for clearing the schedule for Nancy to appear tonight. I think he was working the camera last time, or just trying to keep the dog out of the
Yeah,
kitchen.
yeah.
And by the way, what room are you in that we're seeing? Beautiful background.
This is the piano room. It's my grandma's piano.
Oh, is
It's
that great?
guitars. And it's a nice sounding wooden floor room. But I have a studio next door as well. So I practice piano in here and write in here sometimes and rehearse in here or in there.
That's
So I
great.
have musical spaces wherever I go.
I love it. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. And also, let me be one of the first to wish you and Jeff a happy 10th
Oh
wedding
yeah,
anniversary.
it's coming up and
April,
yeah,
right?
April 28th.
Yeah, congratulations. You got through a pandemic, 2 years. I mean, that alone is worth a medal.
We keep like looking at each other going, wow, if there's one person I'd rather be stuck with, it's you.
There you go. That's when you know you made the right decision, right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you for the congratulations. And, maybe by the time our 10th anniversary rolls around, we could actually go do something fun.
What a concept.
Like travel for pleasure or something like that.
I'm pulling for you. Hopefully things will go in the right direction. I also wanted to thank Madeline Scarpula and Amy Lipsky from Carry On Music, and Lori Miller and Steve Dixon from Red Eye Distribution, to Brian, Joe, Cassie, Tina, Tim, and of course Marty from TalkShop Live, Brad Edwards, Jimmy Cliggett, Sue Vega, Jessica Hall, Jim Ogletree, Rick Stuffelbein, and Boris Stoev at Ingram Music. Coming soon on the Rock and Roll Channel, we're going to have Felix Cavalier, also Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member from the immortal band The Rascals, and another Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member. They're all family, including Nancy John Densmore of The Doors, one of the two surviving Doors members, and more special announcements coming soon. But most importantly, thanks to you, Nancy. Any parting words for your fans tonight?
Oh, thanks for sticking in there, you guys. You're the whole reason I've ever done this to begin with. And lots of love to you. And thank you for sticking it out with us all these years.
Yeah, and that's my cue to say, folks, Nancy was gracious enough to sign a limited quantity of her vinyl album, just hit, and it's blue-colored vinyl, and it's got 3 additional tracks. That's worth the price of admission alone. So make sure you hit the buy button before you part company with us. And just wanted to say thanks for your continued support of the Rock and Roll Channel and Nancy Wilson. And with that, stay safe, rock on, and so long, everybody.
Thanks, you guys.